This is Naomi Ackerman, coming to you from the Advot office in Los Angeles, California. Advot is a local nonprofit that uses the arts to empower youth to find their voice. With Advot, I have spent almost 2 decades working inside the walls of the Los Angeles juvenile lockup facilities, or Juvie, as we call it in slang. When I started this work, I drove to a juvenile lockup facility every Thursday. I would teach what we call the ripple process. The ripple process is the foundation of Advot's lessons. We use the art to teach healthy communication skills and show our youth how to create a positive ripple effect in their life. Today, Advot teaches over a dozen classes at multiple sites throughout LA County. I have had the privilege of meeting the most extraordinary youth inside the walls. Thursdays in Juvie tells the story of where it started and where they are now. First, I'll share a story about my experience teaching at the lockup facility where it all began. Then, we'll hear from a former Advot student or someone who was system impacted and has turned their life around in an inspiring way. I invite you to grab a coffee or a tea, take a walk, and listen. Listen to the voices of these beautiful young people. I am so happy you chose to join us today to experience the power of love, redemption, and change. This is Thursdays in Juvie, and now the show. Change is simple, it's messy, layered, and sometimes hard to see, but it's incredibly simple at its core. I visited a kid from our program who was spending his birthday locked up, and no one came to see him. They brought me to a small room where young moms can meet their children. Random toys were scattered throughout the space. When he walked in, he looked defeated, sadness hanging over him. "They didn't celebrate my birthday, miss," he said quietly. "There was no cake, no singing, nothin'." I pulled out a card that I had bought at the grocery store. Much fancier than I planned, much more expensive than I planned. But something about it, when I saw it, felt right. "Happy birthday," I said, and I handed it to him. He opened it slowly, revealing an over-the-top pop-up display. And just like that, his face lit up, his shoulders straightened, and for the first time, he smiled, unguarded and full of joy. It wasn't much, just a card. But change hides in small, unexpected moments, and transformation hangs out with change in those moments. It's been a whirlwind of a few weeks, stressful, exhausting, and overwhelming. My middle daughter graduated from elementary school. There was a dance recital. My oldest daughter's bat mitzvah is fast approaching. Final reports are due to our funders. It is all-around chaos that comes with the end of the year. And as if that wasn't enough, we were told we must move out of our apartment in the next 3 months. And the move falls, of all days, on the first day of the Jewish New Year. The stress has been unlike anything I've ever experienced. It's not just in my mind, it's physical. I can feel it in my gut gnawing at me. As part of the Jewish tradition, I light Sabbath candles every Friday night. Before I do this, I sing a song that holds deep meaning for me. It's called Hachama Merosh. It is a poem by an Israeli poet named Bialik, describing the Sabbath queen descending from the heavens. The song reminds me of my late mother, graceful, radiant, and warm, truly like the Sabbath queen herself. I've sung this song for years before lighting the candles, mostly alone, as my children rarely join in. Last Friday, something shifted. Perhaps sensing my tension, all three of my daughters started singing with me in the sweetest of voices, and for the first time, their voices joined me, carrying the melody that holds my mother's spirit. And just like that, she was in the room with us. Today was the final presentation for a group I've been working with in Juvie for the past 12 weeks. If you'd asked me last week how I thought it would go, I'd have been skeptical if it would happen, let alone succeed. We had nothing ready. Probation has all these new rules and regulations that made planning even harder. The clearances were delayed, Social Security numbers were wrong, and there were countless emails going back and forth. The logistical nightmare only added fuel to the fire of my stress. Yet somehow, just like that, the list of visitors was cleared and nearly everyone showed up. Yesterday, on my way to rehearsal, I picked up one of my program graduates. She's now connected with a mentor, a sweet college intern who's helping her build a resume and figure out her next steps. And just like that, she is moving forward. When I finally arrive at the facility, late and panicked, I brace myself for the worst. But my Juvie girls, they surprised me. They stepped up. And in the 5 hours of rehearsal, before the show, they behaved, they focused, and we figured it out. And just like that, they pulled it off, and the show was phenomenal. This year has not been easy. Probation has made things harder than ever. Expanding the program meant navigating a new facility that's been far from supportive of our work. Keeping a nonprofit afloat feels like trying to lose weight while working in a pie shop. You need to have relentless willpower and unwavering commitment. Lately, I've been asking myself, why am I doing this? What is the purpose? This is way too much. But today, standing in the gym at the performance, watching 7 beautiful girls sing their hearts out, I was reminded why. They sang, "I'm that star up in the sky. I'm that mountain peak up high. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest. I'm that little bit of hope when my back's against the ropes. I can feel it. I'm the world's greatest." One girl, who never sang with us before, was belting out the words as if she'd written the song herself. My heart opened and the knot in my stomach loosened. "Miss," she said afterwards, "bet you didn't think I had it in me to sing, huh?" "Oh, I knew you had it," I replied. "I was just wondering when you'd finally let it out." She laughed and gave me a big hug. "This theater stuff, miss, it fucking gets the stuff out of me." "It sure does," I told her, and we laughed together. The work is hard, but the rewards are in the moments of song, joy, and gentleness, the moments when the shy one speaks, the moments when the tough one softens, the moments when the sad one smiles. These are the moments I am privileged to witness. Every small moment matters. And even in the most stressful weeks and trying times, I remind myself that everything can change just like that. Purpose is not about grand gestures or perfect plans. It's about showing up again and again, even when it feels impossible. It's about trusting that the small moments add up and the seeds you plant in the hardest times will grow in ways you cannot yet imagine. It's about remembering that sometimes the greatest transformations begin with simple acts just like that. Stay tuned for an interview with a system-impacted individual who's turned their life around in the most inspiring way. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to receive notifications about new shows. Join the Advot Ripple. Contribute at www.advot.org. So we are here today with Gaby, and this is very exciting because Gaby is a new student of mine. And it's always exciting for me when I get to meet a new student. And when I see brilliance, I know that it's there.
Oh, thank you.
And when I see inspiration, I know that it's there. So I heard you talking in my class and I was like, I want her on the podcast. So thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And I know that you have children at home and you just finished your work day and you're coming to be with us. And I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. So Thursdays in Juvie, this podcast is about sharing stories of the incredible young women that I met at the LA County Detention Facility, Camp Scudder. And I know and really believe that stories matter. And therefore, take just like a few minutes, 5 minutes. You don't have to tell the whole story, but share with me and with our audience your story.
So I was incarcerated for 17 years. I went in at 19 and I've been out I'm going on 4 years being out. Mm-hmm. And so I left behind my 2 children. My daughter's Alexis, my son's Angel. They were 5 and 3. And it was just crazy. I messed up. I was following the wrong crowd. I was being influenced in the wrong way. And that comes from, I noticed that did come from a lot of abandoned issues at home. I seeked attention in the streets. I wanted to be out there. So I served my time, but also I did a lot of stuff in there as well that jeopardized my date to be out, the certain date that, the judge had sentenced me to. I did a year shoe term and isolation, and that messed me up a lot, mentally, to where I came out angry and I just started drinking hooch. Yeah, so now I'm just trying to do my best and, just trying to stay positive and be a good twin mama. And, I got my 2 girls at home and, yeah, it's just amazing right now what God's blessing me with today.
I love how we're going to talk about it more, how you turned it around. You had this very dark time and you were really angry. And then you're like one of I wish I was as good a mom as you. You're like such a good mom. And, it comes at a price. But an exercise that we do on this podcast, it's called the 6-word novel. And it's kind of a challenge to tell your life in 6 words. What would be the 6 words that you would tell us that are your life?
It'll be love all, fear nothing, and be free.
Love off? Love all. Yeah. I was like, love all, fear nothing, be free.
Yes.
Right. I keep saying that every time someone says that, I need to make a T-shirt. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Love all, fear nothing, be free. That's kind of a mantra I think that I need to start saying in the morning.
I do too.
Do you? When you wake up, you say that? That's amazing. That is amazing.
It's a practice, but it works.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So this is a podcast that I share these stories of these women that I worked with. And the one that I shared before I interviewed you is called Just Like That. And it's kind of how sometimes actually things just fall into place. And I know that you're changing your life and you've made such big changes. What kind of clicked? What just like that happened for you in this new chapter of your life?
When I was in prison, I believed that I was a lifer. I had to plant that in my mind to survive it, to block my kids out, to block my freedom, to block the pain, regret, everything. So when I started to do, catching these 115s, it seemed normal. No, I had no guidance. Like nobody will tell me nothing. They'll just cheer me on like, yeah, do it, go. Until I went to CIW and a lifer, she pulled me to the side and I was those type of people like, don't tell me nothing, like just don't say nothing to me. But something about this lady, her name is Tanya Williams. She was a lifer. And she told me, you're not a lifer, Gaby. What are you doing? So that clicked. She goes, look at your face sheet, the sheet that they give you when your release date comes. And I was like 5 years away. And I was like, damn, it's like, I'm just a handful. Like, I could count those years in my hand. So that's what basically had me like, you know what? I need to stop. I got family. You know, my aunt, she raised my son and she brought him to me. And something else that clicked that had me, you know what, let me change and let me just think, let me reframe my life. Let me put it like that. When my son asked me, why are you in prison for? That is what killed me. I knew the question was going to come, but you know what? I wasn't ready for it. You know, I was like, oh God, what am I going to say? You know?
Yeah.
But I was able to be honest with them. So I think that is what clicked is my family. Like, I have a date. A lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also honesty. I think a lot, I think a lot of times when someone comes at you really honestly, you're just like that. You're like, okay, like, what am I doing? I need to stop. Why am I here? I need to stop. Like that's really, and the thing is that not everybody catches those moments, because those moments come and you have to catch them.
Yeah.
And if you don't catch them, they're gone. And sometimes they're gone forever. Like if you didn't take in what she said, I'm not sure you would have made that change. Right?
Right.
So from that moment when she said, okay, what are you doing? You're not a lifer. What had to change? What had to change for you to actually get out after 5 years?
Start thinking like my worth. Because we're just a number in there. And we have, you know, they have COs that in there that are just, they're scandalous. They down talk you. So when I start to realize, you know what, my worth, what is my worth, you know? That's what pushed me, you know, I love me. I need to start loving me because I didn't, you know, but today I do. You know, I think, yeah, today I do, you know.
What helped you love you?
God. God did. And I could honestly say that, you know, I lost so much, you know. And it sucks because it was because I was being stubborn, you know what I mean? And not caring. And it stems from abuse that I went through with my father at home. It went through the dysfunction, you know, but I'm grateful with God because, yeah, I spent 17 years in prison. I lost the chance to be a mother. And I prayed to him. I said, give me a chance to stay focused. I told him. I remember I was in CIW and I told him, just give me a chance. I want a family. I want a husband. I want a dog. I want a cat. I want my own apartment. And he blessed me 10 times more with an awesome man. You know, my husband, he's very, very supportive. And my daughters, Ava and Aviana, my twins, like he gave me back two. Like I lost two, he gave them back to me to be able to be a mother, you know? So it's God. Like, that's why, like, I'm not a Christian like that to where I go to church every Sunday. But I believe and I pray and I'm thankful.
What would you say? I'm hearing a lot about your will and your strength because you are very strong.
Thank you.
When you got out and you decided that you wanted to kind of change your ways and do something, live differently, what did you need? What had to happen for that to happen? Like, who was helping you, or what things were put in place? Like, that's a bunch of questions at one time.
No, yeah, I get it.
But such a big change. Like, you're incarcerated for 17 years. You come out. How did you do that?
There was a lady named that we used to call her Mama Rita. She did the group in prison, Victims Offender Educational Group. So she introduced me to the homeboys, Father G and all that stuff. So when I got out, she told me, keep in contact and I will help you. You know, and so that's what she did. She literally drove me to homeboys.
Oh, wow.
Put me in there with Father G and I was in. You know, it was awesome. And it was Mama Rita. She guided me through that. And now she passed about two years ago. She passed away. And it was her support. And my aunt too, like she allowed me to her home. My son's an adult now. So I had to talk to him like, hey, you know, like, is it okay? You know, like if I could come and move in with you. So the support of the family was awesome because it wasn't like, no, go to a shelter, or no, go here. I was able to be there.
I love that you had people that supported you, because I know that from many stories, from the many stories that I've heard, you can't do this on your own.
You can't.
And you can't do it without the support of community and people around you. And what would you tell people who are listening to this? How can they help people like you? So you're talking about your family, they took you in. Mama Rita drove you. But I'm just a person listening to this podcast and saying, wow, that Gaby, she's amazing. She's so inspiring. I want to get involved and help people like her. What would be something that could be helpful? That's a big question, because our family takes us in. But so what would you tell someone who's listening to this? How could they get involved? How could they help? What would be your advice?
I think for myself, it's the people that I chose. Mm-hmm. I'm not picking the wrong crowds. Our conversations have to match in some way. So I think the support, it doesn't necessarily have to be from family, because I have good friends at Homeboys right now that support me in my education. My good friend Mabel and Myra, and I have people there that I could go to, but they're there for me too. They could hear me out. And it is hard I'm not going to say for my friends to adjust to me or anything, but our brains are not the same. I suffer from anxiety. You know what I'm saying? But their support, they're just right there with me. You know what I'm saying? So it's that type. The support also is understanding. Like, our minds we battle being institutionalized.
Yeah.
And coming out here to the world is brand new to us. Like, I never owned a flat screen, like an iPhone.
Yeah.
I never even owned a flip phone. I don't know if you remember those strip phones.
Yeah, because you were incarcerated.
Yeah, this is in 2005 when I got incarcerated.
Oh my God, the iPhone! I know when the iPhone came out on my youngest daughter's birthday.
Yeah, so
that was 2007.
So I still struggle, and I ask my friends. I tell Mabel, help me! Like, how do you do this? How do you do it? I still struggle with it. But I just think that the most support that somebody could give us, that have been there and that, in prison, and especially for that amount of time, is basically just be patient.
I love that.
Being patient, because I know I could be a handful, with my husband too. Like, he tells me, okay, relax, it's okay. But it's just having that connection with people, like understanding.
I think patience is something we all have to exercise.
Yeah.
It's patience. I would say patience. And there's so much that we don't know, right? If I just ran into you and I saw you struggling with the phone, I wouldn't know that you don't know how to use the phone, because you're a really smart, intelligent person. And I think at large, there's so much that we don't know about people.
Right.
And if someone's listening to this, like, remember to be patient with people, because there's a lot going on inside that is not happening outside. Yeah. And we don't know. And I know, and this is what I love about your story, is that you're so open to opportunity. Like, I wanted to give you this opportunity and it's not giving you, you're actually giving me the opportunity to listen to you.
Awesome.
No, it is, because it's not me you're bringing your story to me as my opportunity. But that's our job in society, is to give opportunities. And if you see someone who maybe has a story that you're like, well, they were incarcerated, or they don't know how to use a phone, or whatever, don't be judgmental.
Right.
And give the opportunity, because I know that in my classes with you, I learn so much from you. And when you talk about anxiety, and there's so many lessons to learn from people, that give opportunity, because it's going to be an opportunity back to you. And that's really important. And I really appreciate that. And, our tagline of the organization is "Your voice is your power." I heard a few names that you said, but who would you say, who helped you find your voice, and how did they do that?
Well, I could go back to, there's two people that are very important to me to this day. And I did time with them. Yeah, my good friend Mia. She did 10 years in prison. And my friend Lupita, she did 13. I call them my family.
Yeah.
And the fact that we could help each other out, because we struggle. For instance, we went through that institutionalized and all that other stuff. And it's basically like, that's my support system too, that I could call them. We hang out sometimes here and there, whatever, right?
Where are they now? Are they
they're
out?
free. Thank
They're
God.
free?
Yes. Look, my friend Mia, she actually comes out and broadcasts. She is a photographer. She's amazing. She advocates for you know what I mean? For immigrants, the injustice in prison, all that stuff. And my friend Lupita, she does construction.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They're awesome. And I look up to them. You know what I'm saying? They're great people. Yeah.
How did they help you find your voice? What did that look like?
By accepting me. They accept me, you know what I mean? And they encourage me. And they showed me. And they don't, it's crazy because it's like, they probably don't even know this. You know?
We're going to have to make sure that they listen so they know that they helped you find your voice. Yeah.
Yeah, so they helped me because I watched them. You know what I mean? So it's not like somebody came and said, this is how you do it, Gabby. This is how you find your voice. No, it was all through our friendship. I love that. Our bonding. I watched them do it, and it's like, you know what? That's the way it's supposed to be done. Like, that's what I really appreciate their strength too. You know, and I don't know if that makes sense.
No, totally makes sense. Yeah.
It's like, that's how I found my voice, to be able to speak up to what's wrong. You know?
So what I'm hearing, what I'm loving, it's like, so we talked about patience.
Yes.
And we talked about opportunity, but also about acceptance, that there needs to be acceptance. And, you know, when you're a role model, there's two parts of being a role model. Like, you can be a role model, so you just behave in a certain way and people see that. But also look for role models.
Right.
You know, we work a lot in the halls now and in the camps, and I think what for so many of the kids that are in the juvenile halls, there is a lack of role models, right? They don't have role models, so they don't know how to be. So that's extraordinary that you saw it. You said, I want to be that. That's the way it's going to be. And maybe that enabled you to let go some of the trauma or the people who hurt you, because you saw people who accepted you and who were good to you and supported that. So I love that.
And it falls back to women empowering women. And there's not a lot of that.
Yeah.
You know, they're haters. Like, what's wrong? They're like, no. But you know that, and that's what I'm grateful of. I haven't came across negativity. Like, I won't even get involved in that. Like, people that are negative, like, I'm not gonna do all that. You know, I'm happy. You know, with them in my life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That gave me that push. And also there's Grandpa Greenie. She helped me too. You know, like I went through a lot of like the, you know, domestic violence in prison and stuff like that. And then there was a point that I became the abuser. But I went to classes and, you know, I asked for forgiveness. So I did the steps, you know. So it's a few that I do have.
That's amazing. You know, I hear from a lot of people a lot of times that change is impossible, and someone who did something bad or someone who made a mistake can't change. And I look at you, I can't even imagine you. Well, I can, because I know you're fiery, but you have such a good center and such a good core. And I'm just so impressed. I'm even more impressed hearing the story and how much change you had to do. So what had to change for you to be who you are now? Like, what were the things that you had to change so that you could be this mom you are now, that you can have this disposition, that you're not hanging out with the right crowd? What was like the incentive to make you change?
I deserve to be happy. Because I was miserable. I hated everybody. I'm trying to say that, but I hated everybody. I was not happy. And I hated myself. I was very angry with me.
Yeah.
So you know what I mean? So it's like I had to forgive myself. And
let go of the anger.
Yeah. You know, I struggle. I'm sorry. I still struggle a little bit with that because other things have came up. My mom passed a year ago, and I had to go and identify her. She died alone in my aunt's house. I had just had my twins, so I'm in my postpartum depression in that stage, And I was very angry. But I remembered, I'm a mom. I cannot lash out. I have twins. I just got out. What do I deserve to live a life. It's complicated. But I know that I'm not alone. Like, now I have you I could come to.
True, that's for sure.
Like, I know where to find you at.
Yeah, you do. No, listen, everybody can find me. I love being found. But I love, it's about self-love.
Yeah.
And it's about forgiveness and acceptance of the other, of yourself. And what I love about your story is the second chapter or the third chapter. And I hope that people listening understand that our lives are filled with chapters.
Yeah.
And there's always, always an opportunity for a new chapter. And what inspired me and wanted me to have you here is that I was so inspired by this chapter of your life and how diligent you are about being with your kids, about being a good mom, about doing the right thing. And, we hear a lot of stories in our class, and there's a million times you can get angry or whatever, and you just take it with stride. So you've had some, rocky chapters, and now you have a beautiful chapter. And I hope for people who are listening, if you're in a chapter that's rocky right now, know that it's temporary. Don't make yourself a lifer. Right. Like, that chapter does not have to be forever. Right. And look for the new chapter. That's, I think, what I'm going to take from you is, like, you're not a lifer. Like, if you're in a bad relationship, you are not a lifer.
Right.
If you're in a bad job, you're not a lifer. Like, you can get out of it. And I'm so excited to see how your girls grow up. I'm so excited to see what the next chapter after this is going to be, because, in stories, when you tell a story, there's usually like a plot twist. And then the plot twist changes the whole story. So you did this plot twist, you got out, you have this beautiful family, and now, I don't know, it's going to be a really beautiful story.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait.
Me too.
Yeah, because I have goals. I have goals.
Well, we'll like in a year, we'll bring you back, and then we'll hear what the continuation of the book was. So
awesome.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your story. And I wish you the best of luck. And at some point, I have to meet these beautiful little girls of yours.
Yes.
Because I have a weakness for girls because I've raised 3 of them. Mm-hmm. So thank you, Gaby. Thank you. Thank you for choosing Thursdays in Juvie with Naomi Ackerman in partnership with Advot. We know that you have many choices to listen to, and we appreciate you giving us your time today. Time is precious, so we must pay attention to people who serve time. We hope that hearing these stories will help you see the youth Advot works with as the amazing humans they are, and not just case numbers. Did you enjoy the podcast? If so, please share it with your family, your friends, and colleagues. To learn more about Advot or to make a contribution, visit www.advot.org. Special thanks to the Boyle Heights Arts Conservatory for their support in producing this season of Thursdays in Juvie. We hope you'll join us again, because the more we listen, the better we understand. And the better we understand, the more compassion we have. Compassion changes the world. Listening is the first step in gratitude.